video. Now, in this video, guys, we shall be discussing Inter Milan. Now, the last time I talked about Inter Milan was the Champions League final against Manchester City. That was a couple months ago. That was about, I believe, a month ago or so. That's the last time I talked about Inter Milan. But it's been brought to my attention, me seeing articles about Inter Milan's transfer news, which I'm going to do a video about at the end of the transfer window and talk about their signings. But one signing in particular that Inter Milan was rumored to be going after was the return of Romelu Lukaku, who had a star season for Antonio Conte, and then we sold him to Chelsea. 2 seasons later, a season later after, he comes back on loan. He ends up getting 14 goals, having a pretty good end of the season. And of course, he's the reason, I believe he's a big part of the reason why Inter Milan never really beat Manchester City. Because if we guys remember, or at least went to extra time, because if you guys remember, there was a part where Lukaku's body blocked the ball from going into the goal. And I was so frustrated with that moment. And then now, Lukaku is a traitor. I just want to point that simple out. Lukaku is a traitor. The last time I've seen something like this happen, or particularly how I felt about it, was my dad's team, Arsenal. My dad's team, Arsenal, had a player called Robin van Persie, and Robin van Persie was going to be a very good striker for Arsenal for the coming years. And then he goes on to sign with their major rivals. Lukaku now has been on the phone secretly since the Champions League final, according to articles, with Juventus. And keep in mind, this is the guy that, when he was at Chelsea, he was declaring in interviews, oh, I want to go back to Inter Milan. I love Inter Milan. I want to go back here. And now he's having secret meetings with Juventus that have been taking place since the Champions League final. Coincidence? I think not, of why he blocked that goal, considering that he probably didn't want Inter Milan to win the Champions League, even though he said that he loves the club. And now, Inter Milan have agreed to feed with Chelsea. I think it was $32.5 million with added bonuses on. And then come to here, Inter Milan's trying to reach Lukaku from articles, from what I've been reading. Lukaku hasn't been responding, and the one time they did get Lukaku, it was to say that their intentions of signing him are over. Keep in mind, Inter Milan had a transfer agreed with Chelsea. Juventus have to wait to sell a player before they can even go for Lukaku. Why would you wait for someone to try and sell somebody, and if it doesn't work out, you have to stay at Chelsea who don't want you? Keep in mind that Chelsea does not want Lukaku. Pochettino hasn't talked to Lukaku according to articles, and Juventus are the same team he complained about a couple months ago when some of their fans allegedly racially abused him in the game against Inter Milan. This guy is just so stupid. Lukaku, you are actually stupid. You're going to a team that racially abused you. No matter whether or not they get the fans out, they're still going to do that because some of the fans that probably got banned have friends that are going to be going to the game, and they're going to remember that it was you that complained about that. But you chose this. Inter Milan had a transfer agreed with Chelsea. Inter Milan were ready to bring you back to the club. They made it a majority priority to try and bring you back to the club. Yes, in the beginning, they started out lowballing Chelsea because that's how you work in negotiations. You just don't go straight for the same price because you're going to always wonder to yourself, I wonder if I could get him for less. And they agreed to price with Chelsea, and come to find out you've had secret negotiations with Juventus. How do you think that's going to make the club feel? How do you really think that's going to make the club feel? And I've seen people comment like, oh, this is Inter's fault, they took a long time. Inter Milan were slowly playing the transfer market, and if it came down to it, there's still a month left in the transfer window. They would have got Lukaku pretty easily. They had a fee agreed. They agreed a fee, yes, a couple of days ago. And then the first thing they find out is that Lukaku's had secret meetings with Juventus Of course, I'm not surprised that they pulled the plug on the deal. I'm not surprised. If I alright, let's say this. If I was running a club, right, and like I had a player that did really real well for me in 2 seasons, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a majority priority to bring this guy back to the club, and I hear that he's had secret meetings with one of my biggest rival, second biggest rival. I would just be like, you know what, I don't want that player. I don't really want it. And considering the fact that what's happened between Lukaku and Juventus, fair enough. He wants to go Juventus, fine. I just hope he knows what's coming from him. Because I don't care what you say, Marcus Thuram is a similar type of striker to Lukaku, and he's way younger. He's not even entered his prime. Inter Milan are making signings to win the title this year. Juventus doesn't even have European football this year. Juventus doesn't even have European football this year. And even then, it's probably like Europa League. I don't even know if Juventus have... I don't follow Juventus. I really don't. But Lukaku, this player, he's put so many comments, interviews, like stories, saying that he loves Inter Milan. He wants to return back to the club. The minute he gets the return and Inter Milan are ready to bring him back, he does this. And according to articles, he was ignoring their calls up until the moment that Inter Milan found out he's been having these secret meetings with Juventus. And at that point, Romelu Lukaku, is a traitor to everyone at Inter Milan.